Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the greatness of Hot Springs Village, Arkansas, and the surrounding areas. People, places, experiences. Hot Springs Village is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host, Dennis Simpson, as we engage in weekly conversations to explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com. RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village, the award-winning RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village, is the largest real estate office inside the village with over 30 full-time agents and support staff. Visit them to learn more about this beautiful place to solve your real estate needs. Call them today at 1-800-364-9007 or find them online at explorehsv.com. They are RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village at 1-800-364-9007 or online at explorehsv.com.
Well, you know, Todd, we're all about paying our dues, and apparently you have a due you have to pay.
I do. I have to give a shout out to OARC first grade class in OARC, Arkansas. I want to say hello, and my daughter-in-law is a teacher there, and she told me, said, when you go on, you better say hello to my first grade class. We're going to watch you. I said, all right. So
now,
hello, everybody.
I knew we had people in Australia and New Zealand and Spain and Russia. I didn't know we had anybody in OARC, Arkansas. Come on, man. We literally just drove down.
That's right.
We came down the Pig Trail and across, was it 215 that goes west?
Yeah.
You talk about a beautiful piece of.
It's beautiful. And hey, I tell you what, Dennis, next time you're up there, eat there at the little OARC burger joint. It's the best hamburger you ever ate in your life. Ralph Meeker, he's the head deer biologist in the state of Arkansas.
Really?
And he came down, and he and I were doing a deer survey here in Hot Springs Village, and we had to work of a night, all night long, doing a deer survey. And he, of course, we were doing small talk there at each other. And he said, I told him, I said, well, my daughter-in-law works at OARC, Arkansas. She's a first grade teacher there at OARC.
Yeah.
And he said, I've been there. He said, I tell you what, he said, they got the best hamburger I've ever ate in my life.
Now, let me, not to take anything away, but you're telling me it's better than the Shack in Jesseville. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you know what? I can't say that, Dennis, because I'm from Jesseville. I can't say that, but
that's a good burger, man. That's a good burger.
It's a good burger.
But if I tell you what, if OARC could be as good, I'll be there and eat a burger there too.
I'll say they're as good, Dennis. They're as good as the Shack.
And I tell you what, because we're all about chasing the tangent here. We're going to talk about the urban deer hunt in just a second. But I tell you what, if you haven't been up Highway 23, which is the Pig Trail, as they call it, goes up to Huntsville in that area. Number one, you drive through the Ozark National St. Francis National Forest. It is stunningly beautiful. It's as beautiful as here. And that's saying something. I love this spot. But as you go up, you go across the Mulberry and you can turn right onto 215 and you'll parallel the top of the Mulberry River all the way across there, east and west. That's one of the most beautiful drives I've ever seen in my life. You're looking down on the Mulberry River, which is kind of this blue-green because of the magnesium and the calcium in the water. Gorgeous place. How did she get there? I mean, what, you have family there or what?
Well, I don't. My son, he went to school at Henderson, and he ended up. She's from OARC. And she went to the College of the Ozarks up there, and he met her at FCA camp.
Really?
And and they were big into the Christian, with the youth and stuff.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, he married her, and they moved to Clarksville. He coaches football and teaches algebra and geometry at Paris, Arkansas. And she's a first grade teacher at OARC. But they got a little girl, my grandbaby, the only grandbaby I've got. I tell you what, she is. She got her papa wrapped around her finger.
Okay. Next time we're getting pictures, Todd. We're getting pictures, buddy. I want to see pictures of this.
I've got one right here behind me. You can see her in the distance. Yeah.
Well, no, I tell you, the reason why I'm going down that path just a little, number one, it's a gorgeous place. And we are not saying Ozark, Arkansas. We're saying
it's OARC. Especially during the fall time. Yes. When you drive it during the fall time when the leaves change. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean,
yeah, and there's 4 or 5. It's in the national forest, but there's 4 or 5 landings there. There's High Point and Ingles Nest and Bay. There's some others. absolutely beautiful area. If you want to trip up through that way, it's just defined. And you were telling me, which is unbelievable to me, we were mentioning earlier, and we're having the urban deer hunt this year, and which is always a big success. You were telling me we had people from Gurdon, Arkansas. Now, I think if you are a deer hunter from Gurdon, Arkansas, and you have to come to Hot Springs Village, you probably couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, is what I'm thinking, because there's more deer, I think, in Gurdon, Arkansas than probably most other places in the state.
There's several down there. Yeah, there's several, but we got them from. Hey, we got people this year that it's registered to hunt from. Like I said, I bet we've got 20 to 30 from the state of Louisiana, and I'm talking about all the way down in South Louisiana. We've got them from Oklahoma. We've got them several from Texas. We got Missouri. We've got them all over the state of Arkansas, from Gurdon to Bentonville to Booneville, just everywhere. We got 380 participants this year. It's one of the biggest group of participants that we've had.
So number one, you mentioned earlier, just tangentially, you mentioned you were doing a deer survey. I want to hear those results in a minute. And I apologize, I'm about to sneeze here, but tell me, how does the urban deer hunt work, and who manages that? How do we do that?
Well, in the past, you have to be registered with the Arkansas Bow Hunters Association. Now, the Arkansas Bow Hunters Association, they send people down to do what's called an orientation. That's usually been in July. And that's where you have to qualify with the bow that you're going to hunt with. And you have to hit a target in a vital area 3 times. If you miss it once, you're done. You can't hunt.
Really? Let's be frank about this. An urban deer hunt, this is all about safety, right?
It is. It is.
Because your arrow could go the wrong place. This could be a problem.
That's why we have a qualification. We don't want somebody hunting in here that can't get nothing. We want to, and it's also for the deer. We want someone that whenever they take a deer, they hit it where the deer is not going to suffer. Sure. And make a clean shot. Also, our rules, you mentioned safety. You have to be at a minimum of 10 feet in the air in a stand, and that way the trajectory of your arrow is going down to where you're not shooting straight, and you can hit something way out front of it. So you have to be 50 yards from any structure, trail, street. So therefore, and safety is our number one thing. And we try to tell our hunters, be just to be as discreet as they can be. Yeah. We want them to be invisible. And so that's what they do. And then they come in, and the first deer that you take has to be donated to Hunters Feed the Hungry. We have a trailer, a freezer trailer, that is at the Cortez Fire Station. And Ronnie Ritter, which is president of Hunters Feed the Hungry, he and I work together on this, and he comes in once or twice a week. We help him load up what he's got, and and they take them and have them processed into the meat sticks that they give to the children. That's part of the backpack program with all the local schools, and also they have meat ground up into hamburger meat and different things that they give to like the Jackson House and different food banks for needy families. And it's a real good thing that we team up with them and try to help the community while we're also meeting our objective of lowering our number of keeping a healthy deer herd. I was going to ask real quick, the people from Louisiana, are they having the problem with the wasting disease, or because they haven't. That I've talked to them, the ones that I have actually talked to. Mm-hmm. But they can't take the deer across state line. So if they take one up here, really? They can't. Yeah, they have to take the meat across state line. But like if you kill a big buck here and you want to get it mounted, you're not going to be able to take that deer across state line. Really? Yeah. Unbelievable. Well, yeah. I had no idea, but and I didn't mean to get off the path there real quick, but number one, let me cover things real quick. Step one, the deer on the side of the road are absolutely beautiful. I love them. It's wonderful. I personally think, and this is me, the deer in the village seem a little smarter than the deer up and down Highway 5, because the deer up and down Highway 5 get spooked easy on anything and they'll run for crazy. And the deer in the village are more like, they're not going to hit us. We're cool. We'll just have some food here, my crazy thought. But that said, as beautiful and as wonderful as they are, and I think I may have said this before, and I'm going to bring up some uncomfortable truths so you don't have to. The bottom line is that they're beautiful if they're not on the top of my car,
or going through my windshield or trying to kill me.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. And just outside the village is the national forest. We're just, as the deer would go, we're not a half mile, would you say? I mean, for the Green Bay and the other stuff.
Yeah, when there's Winona Refuge.
Exactly, in the wildlife refuge and the national, the wilderness area. The bottom line is that if we don't thin these deer numbers, the game and fish will take car batteries, knock the lids off of them. They go and lick the battery acid and they die a pretty disgusting death. It's what I understand. That said, taking them and harvesting them and turning them into deer sticks that we give to needy kids that they can take to school and eat as snack packs, I don't see where there's even a comparison of what you think we should do. I mean, it goes from a very bad thing to a really great thing, don't you think, Todd?
It is, and Hot Springs Village, the hunt we have here, that we have donated the most meat than all the other hunts in the state of Arkansas ×2 combined. We've doubled. If you take all the other
combined,
yes, if you take all the other urban deer hunts in the state of Arkansas and you multiply them by 2, we still donate more meat than that number comes out.
Unbelievable. So obviously, if we weren't donating these, this would stop the supply chain effectively. I mean,
it would drastically reduce the amount of meat that we have processed to give out. This year we're a little bit behind on our numbers. I mean, people think that these deer here in the village, they see people all the time, traffic, they're tame. Well, they're pretty smart. Mm-hmm. They see people start taking to the woods and they go together around houses. They're going to move in at night. And our numbers are down a little bit so far this year. Now that may pick up cooler weather comes, but we've been able to donate, I think 60 something this year so far to Hunters Feed the Hungry. And hopefully that number will increase throughout the year. I seen a deer the other day up on Durango Way. I went up Durango Way here in the village, and I seen a deer land on a front porch it was a buck, pretty nice buck, laying on the front porch of a house. Yeah, I got a picture of it. Matter of fact,
I'm sure nobody at that house had ever fed that.
Well, I think it was a vacant. I think it was a vacant house. Yeah, but it was laying there on the front porch of the house.
Unbelievable. Well, and here's the deal. So Diane and I go to bingo Monday night. We're at the Catholic Church. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a break and I mean, excitement, right? Woohoo. Yeah. So there's a break in between the games and we go outside and the guy said, come here. And I walk outside and I mean, 120 feet away, there's a little red fox.
Yeah.
Just kind of bouncing around, watching what's going on. Next thing you know, this red fox is coming up within 15, 20 feet of me. And I'm taking some pictures and going, we're getting close enough. This is fine. But my point being, nature and people in the village it's just a symbiotic dance, and you got to have a balance. And if we've got more deer, I mean, how many deer did we take last year, roughly?
I think we took last year, I think we took 320 something.
Out of 26,000 acres.
Yeah. Now that was tagged deer. That wasn't deer that, and you always have to account for your poachers that come in and take them and don't tag them and, just load them up in the back of the truck and haul them out. But, roughly, I'm going to say there was probably 400 a little overtaken.
Really?
Last year. Yeah.
Really?
And our goal really is 500 a year. And then this year, the fawns were just, there were fawns everywhere.
There were dozens of fawns, and they're beautiful. I love them, but
they are. And we had a good acre crop last year. And so the does were, during the winter, the fall, the winter, they was able to stay healthy, just to stay fat. And they had a big breeding season, and we had a lot of fawns born. But, that's the thing. The people in urban deer hunt, we try to encourage them, take the does.
Really?
Take as many does as you can, during the hunt, and don't just come in here and try to take a trophy buck,
Yeah, which is what.
Yeah. Try to take as many deer as you can.
Well, let me ask this. So, and you had mentioned this earlier, but I want to make sure that this is on camera that we had talked about. So, how many can you take with your Arkansas license? I mean, how many does can you shoot?
Well, this urban deer hunt, Hot Springs Village, you can take however many deer you want to take, and it doesn't go against your hunting license.
So let me get this straight. So I can shoot as many with bow and arrow, of course, people. Let's be frank here.
Yeah, it's
but
archery only.
It's archery only, but I can shoot as many deer as I want in the village. And then I go outside the village, and then my my bag limit actually starts, right?
Right. Yeah. It doesn't count against your bag limit. You get specialized tags here in the village. And you know, on every deer that we donate to Hunters Feed the Hungry, we have, before they go processed, they go through a game and fish biologist. They all get tested for disease. Really? They get tested for CWD, they get tested for any kind of disease that the deer may carry. And that way then we know here in Hot Springs Village, I do, being over the wildlife, that, hey, you know, our deer's healthy, or we may have a case of this. And, you know, and the game and fish worked with me quite a bit throughout the year to help me on that and help me balance that out, see if we've got anything going on here. So far, we haven't. So far, every deer we've had tested has been very healthy. But, you know, at the first sign of CWD or something like that, then we're going to have to do a drastic change in what we're doing.
Well, and we talk about CWD, which is the chronic wasting disease. For me, and I'm a very simple guy, think of it as mad cow disease for deer. I mean, it's neurological. It breaks down their systems. They stagger around like they don't know where they're going.
Horrible.
And it is horrible. And let me build a tangential leg here real quick. Let's look at the east end of the village, shall we? Let's look at the DeSoto right before we get to the gate, and we're just going out the east gate. And Mr. Todd has been clearing lots of pine trees there, and it looks a little rough right now. And it looks a little rough right now because those trees had disease, and if we had not got on it, we would have had a bad problem. Am I mistaken?
Right. Yeah, you're right. We would have.
So that's the beetles. What are the beetles?
The Ips beetles.
The Ips beetles. And basically, when there's too many trees and they're too close together and they're too stressed, the beetle just jumps from tree to tree and literally keeps killing these and otherwise completely healthy pine trees, right?
That's right.
Okay, well, let's go back to the chronic wasting disease. When we have too many deer in too tight an area and this disease gets spread too easily, we don't have strong herds. And the next thing you know, instead, you don't want an archer in your backyard shooting a deer. Okay, I understand. His other options, we're trying to keep that herd healthy so we don't have deer spreading disease. Am I in the ballpark here? You're right.
We want to try, because if you get overcrowded, you know, there's lots of other diseases other than CWD. You got blue tongue, you got hoof rot, you got a whole bunch of other diseases for that overcrowding can cause. Plus the food sources. You know, if you get too many deer in one area, you know, you haven't got enough food sources to sustain that herd. Also, you know, deer carry ticks. Ticks carry Lyme disease.
Boy, don't they?
Yeah. So, I mean, the more deer you got, usually the more ticks you're going to have. You know, because, you know, coming from the country, I've always heard these one ticks, it's not a speckback, they call them deer ticks, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, and that's because the deer carry them mainly. So anyhow, you know, it cuts down on your ticks too. So we try to keep a healthy herd. I mean, you know, we didn't start the urban deer hunt till like maybe 7-8 years ago. And the game and fish, you know, they came in and the survey that we do, that I was telling you I was on a while ago, and you know, and they told us, said, hey, you know, you got to do something. You got to do something.
How many deer did we have, or how many deer do you think there are in the village? 26,000 acres, 41 square miles ish.
You know, I used to have that number, but I forgot what it was. Yeah, after we done our survey. But I do know that they said that we were like 1,500 deer over what that overcrowding number would be for the acres that we have.
Really, for a healthy area.
For a healthy area.
And I think people need to understand, we see deer everywhere and it's wonderful. And visitors come in and see the deer and it's gorgeous. And it's wonderful. I love that I love knowing that we have that natural balance.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
No exaggeration. At the same time, we look across the lake and we say, wow, what a beautiful wooded area. That's not really what deer can eat. They have to eat the underbrush, right?
Right.
So when
they
there's
have to eat the acorns and
or the tulips or the John Corn
azaleas.
Azaleas. They love azaleas. They love azaleas.
Yeah.
And for those that are listening outside the village, and we're once again 5 Mile High, 500 feet, there are people in the village, because this is such a big place. There are people in the village that have nets around their azaleas, or they have little pins around their garden to keep the wildlife out. And there's other people that don't even know what we're talking about, right? They
Right.
rarely have a deer in their area at all,
Mhm.
but this is all predicated, and be very frank about it. On the eastern end, it was replanted as a pine plantation, typically.
By
So-
Weyerhaeuser or
By
Dirks.
Weyerhaeuser, yeah, Dirks Weyerhaeuser, but and it was intended to be rethinned and harvested, and Cooper built a community there instead. But all that said, there can't be as heavy a concentration of deer in those areas, I'm assuming, because they're primarily pines, and deer don't really like to eat pine cones, right? They want acorns and
Right.
acorn, right?
Mhm.
So is that why they're more in the middle and more on the western end?
There is, and there's still a lot of deer on the east end of the village.
Yeah, well,
But-
eating azaleas,
but-
I guess, or
Yeah, eating azaleas and things of that nature. But there's a lot. You see a lot of deer on the east end eating the grass on the right of ways. They'll be on the side of the road,
Yep.
eating the new grass growing. But your bigger concentrations usually in about the middle of the village, especially over there around North Barcelona, where you have all the big oaks and acorns fall, especially in the fall time of the year.
yeah,
Now they can be anywhere eating the grass during the spring and summer, but in the fall and the winter time of the year they go to the acorns, and they're about to that now.
really,
If they just about went to where they're eating acorns. I've heard from several of the hunters, some of the corn that they're feeding, they're not eating as much of the corn now. They've started going to their natural food source, which
as
is
the acorns start to fall, right?
Yeah, and we're going to have a big acorn crop this year. I've seen lots of acorns falling, and it's the same way about the bears. They were seeing the bear in here during the summer,
Yeah.
but it's just it's something about a wild animal, just like your deer and your bear. They're always going to go to their natural food source.
Yeah,
No matter what you're feeding them, they want to eat their natural food source, and the bear, they eat the acorn too, so they moved out after the acorns and left the bird seed alone. And now the deer, is doing the same thing with the corn. They're starting to go to eating their acorns.
so you're saying the deer and the bear, they basically will eat what's available right up until
Yeah.
their primary food source comes available, and then they're like,
Mhm.
forget that, we're going over here to the
Yeah.
acorns. This is what we wanted all along.
Yeah, that's right. So, and that's why most of your hunters now, instead of feeding corn, they've started going to what they call acorn rage and acorn blocks to pull the deer into that, because they went to acorns. And I say acorns. Now, some people say acorns or something like that. That's my hillbilly pronunciation.
some people say opossum too, but I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I have yet to have a conversation with you where I didn't learn a tremendous amount, my friend. I was like, acorn, what? I gotta, now I'm on my way to the farmer co-op now to figure out what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, find the acorn. Yeah, but some people call them acorns. I've just always called them acorns. But
They're acorns.
anyhow,
They're acorns.
yeah,
They're acorns. That's why I saw a guy. The joke was at the airport. A guy walked up and the officer said, "You got any ID?" And the old country boy said, "About what?"
That's about right. That's about right. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, till next time, Dennis Simpson, Todd Knowles, Randy will be back, I promise, for Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Thanks again, Todd.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a podcast where Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is the star. Please subscribe to the podcast. You can do that by visiting our website, hsvinsideout.com, and tell a friend.